What's going on, everybody? This is Deshaun Johnson for DeshaunJohnson.com, and in this video is geared towards more of the VIP Kid family, those who are already teachers. But if you are looking to become a teacher with the VIPKID universe, then go ahead and check out the link in the description, a referral link. Yes, I do get a commission. It's a referral link, but I am looking forward to helping new teachers. Oh, excuse me, they almost knocked my earphones out. Looking forward to helping new teachers who actually, or the people who want to get on board with VIPKID, but they need some coaching, they need some directing, they don't know where to go, and there's a ton of YouTube videos out there to follow, but you need to pick some, if not me, you need to pick somebody that you really resonate with. I really encourage it. It doesn't hurt my feelings if you don't go with me, but if you enjoy the content that I'm producing, you feel like I can help you on this journey. I've been with VIPKID for 6 months now and ongoing. I currently have a 4.99 rating in apparent feedback, which I will show evidence here. And I'm just constantly growing. So if you are really intrigued and want to jump on board with me, then go ahead and use that referral code. Get into the application process, get into the interview process. Do not waste time. Jump on board. Nice little opportunity for extra income or a full-time income if you're looking to do that as well. But in this video, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. It's going to be for teachers, for people who are already been teaching for quite some time and you are struggling to get your rankings, get your ratings pretty high with parents and building that good rapport with students. And I'm going to share with you 3 ways that I actually do that I've been really good about it. 3 things that's just really been helping me. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing that you really need to focus on right now is when you are teaching, when you are inside of a classroom and your students are engaged in a lesson, they're reading, they're doing the mathematics, they're doing all these things, it is very important, that it is meticulously important that you be meticulous and catching their mistakes and correcting them and expanding the learning even more. What do I mean by correcting mistakes and expanding the knowledge even more? Well, if a student misreads something, you need to go back, you need to correct them to show them the right way of producing it. Do not have any fear or any concerns or worries that, let me just go ahead and just say it. Many people may find this offensive. You can't bring the American mind culture into the classroom thinking that, oh, how dare you reprimand my child, or how dare you correct them, and blah, blah, blah. I know that's kind of prevalent maybe here in the U.S. with a lot of parents. Don't touch my child, that whole sort of mentality. But in a way, parents overseas, parents in Beijing and China, they want you to correct their students. They want you to let them know when they're doing wrong. And I didn't say that in terms of just saying that all Americans are just like that, but you shouldn't have that fear in terms of correcting them. You can't let them go on into continuing the lesson and just thinking they're right when they're actually just wrong. That parents will just ding you immediately for that. You know, parents do not like that. You will actually find that if you've already been teaching for quite some time, that parents will actually complain if you do not correct their students enough. Even if they speak English pretty well, they'll notice it. And they'll catch you. They'll call you out on it. And that will lower your ratings. And some of them may be tongue-in-cheek about it. They may actually still give you a good review. But they may actually say, I wish he would, or I wish she would, he's a good teacher. I wish she would just correct him more. So some parents are really nice about it. But you really have to make sure that you catch students when they are wrong and correct them. Parents will respect you for that even more. So I hope that part helps. Extending the learning, that aspect is you really have to make sure that when you have your pacing down and you actually see that you have enough time on a lesson. Maybe a student is moving extremely fast through the lesson. What you could actually do right now at this moment is take time to, let's say if it's them reading sight words. Let me take something simple. They're reading sight words. You can actually ask them to formulate their own sentences. They may actually have you do that maybe in the next slide, but go ahead and take some time to go ahead and build on that and ask them other questions to kind of really challenge them on the learning, okay? The more that you challenge the students and the more that the parents feel like they're growing, your ratings, your reviews, your comments are going to be so positive. Ratings are going to be 5 apples all the time. It never fails. Those 2 things are really key. You need to make sure that that's the ground, that's the foundation, that's the basics in order to start building. Of course, you want to smile all the time. You want to give consistent praise. You want to make sure that you're following up every single time with that when you are teaching the students. Okay, so that's number one, correction and expansion. Number two is going to be just that. It's going to be consistency. Consistency with what, though? You want to be consistent with how you're praising. You want to make sure that you actually have some sort of routine down, being pretty formulaic in your teaching. You need to have some basic fundamentals established in your classroom. For example, I'll give you some basic fundamentals. My intro, I don't really waste a lot of time talking at the beginning of the lesson because that time is important. I really, after reviewing the student's skill level, where they're at, I can kind of gauge to see like, okay, how much time I'm gonna need, per slide or what have you. And you kind of start developing that sort of sense as you gain experience with teaching with VIPKID. So you want to be very consistent. So in the beginning, I do my intro pretty much like this. If it's a student I'm already teaching, then hello. And then I'll wave back, maybe take a second, hello. And then I simply say 3 words, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Excellent. Well, when you do a good job, we're going to help Mr. Squirrel move to the trees. Let's go ahead and let's get started. Now, that intro, pretty much that's probably a minute all in total. It may even be less than that, depending on how fast I actually do it, but tops is going to be a minute. That's all you really need. So if you're spending a lot of time, I totally disagree with this. If you're spending a lot of time in the beginning, just having casual conversation, you kind of run the risk or going into the red of that taking up a lot of your precious time in the lesson, where you can actually kind of integrate the rapport building methods during the actual lesson. Could there be opportunities during the lesson where they're reading a story? It could be something in the story you could try to help them connect in their lives that will actually bring about conversation. There's actually conversation, discussion pieces embedded within the lesson that you could take advantage of to continue that rapport building process instead of having to do it pretty much at the intro of your lesson. So you want to be very consistent and having those basic fundamentals. How often you're going to do your praising, how often you're going to do your rewarding. You want to be very, very consistent, and also try to be consistent too when you actually put feedback into your lesson. Usually, I usually put my feedback in actually as soon as class is over with. That's how I actually do it. I immediately put my feedback in. I don't waste any time. I don't want to think about it the rest of the day. My feedback is already put into the system. So that is number 2, being consistent with some basic fundamentals. And that's for you to establish. You have to kind of learn your teaching style, your personality, how it fits in. And then you want to establish some non-negotiables for yourself. How often you do your reward system, you're constantly smiling, praising, and are pretty much making sure that you're doing the corrections and expansions whenever they need to happen. Okay, that's going to be based on the student's individual skill level. All right, so that's 2. Number 3, third and final, going above and beyond. This is super important. This can actually just make your apples, needless to say, just skyrocket and being a consistent teacher, high rating teacher overall. So what do I mean by going above and beyond? Going above and beyond is, okay, you're starting a class, you started on time, but this student is nowhere to be found. You sit there for 5 minutes, still no student is not present. 10 minutes, student is not present. 15 minutes, student is not present. And we're at the 20-minute mark. Oh, the student is finally shown up. Well, what do you do now? You don't sit up here. You can't say like, oh, you're so late, I cannot teach you. I have to go to my next class. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. No. Okay. If this happens, okay, and there's been times that it has happened, what you need to do is you need to try to be very understanding. As a matter of fact, for me personally, let me not say what you need to do. Let me just share what I do. If the student is showing up in the last 5 minutes of class, I go ahead and I teach them as much as I can within that 5 minutes. I even give them an extra 2 to 3 minutes in, and we'll see how much we can get done. And if we can't really get it done that fast, then what I would actually do is I would go ahead and just go to the very last slide and this is as much as we actually taught. I wouldn't even mention the fact that they were even late. I don't mention it at all. I don't. VIPKID would notice, and they will hold the student accountable. I just do the teaching. I don't do any reprimanding. I don't spend a lot of time correcting behavior. That's not really necessary. So you're in a limited amount of time, and the battle that you want to pick and the battle that I pick is just sticking with the teaching and seeing how much I can actually teach this student. Okay, so that's going above and beyond. Parents will appreciate you for that as well. I've had parents actually have students have technical difficulties on their side, and I would just still just sit there and I would just wait till they come back in, just kind of brush them back into the lesson and resume as usual. And a parent really appreciated that, and they left me really good commentary. So you want to go above and beyond, even when it's an inconvenience for yourself. Even if you have another lesson right after this one, you still want to try to be as respectful and as accommodating. That's the word that I'm looking for, as accommodating as possible. So be going above and beyond, correction and expansion, and being consistent with all these things. So those are my 3 things as far as how I actually establish getting 5 apples. And here's a bonus. I've seen a lot of people talk about that they ask for feedback at the end of a lesson. I don't do that. I don't ask for any feedback at all. I end my lesson with, oh, we've reached the end of the lesson. You've helped Mr. Squirrel move to number 6. And you get 5 stars, because there's 5 stars you can actually give them at the end of the lesson. I go ahead and give it to them. All right. And from there, I say, I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you learned something today. I enjoyed teaching you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. And it could come very like that. And I end it just like that. So I don't personally ask for feedback. If a parent is going to give it to me, I just let the teaching and the lesson speak for itself. If it was a good job, that actually would be strong enough. Okay. That would be very strong enough. So if you feel like you need to ask for feedback, that is great. But I don't ask for feedback at all. But that's going to be a personal preference. Okay. So I don't really ask for feedback. It just, the teaching will speak for itself. You being accommodating, you building a rapport with the student, having a relationship and building all these things. These will make sure that you have recurrent students. This will intrigue new students, so on and so forth. So those are the 3 key things that I actually follow, that are my foundational standards that I go by when I'm actually trying to teach and to continue to stay in the high ratings. So that's what I do. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful for you. Once again, if you are a new person, if you are a person interested in getting into this VIPKID universe, this VIPKID world, how I go from universe to world, I don't know, then go ahead and use the referral link in the description below. If you are interested in other things in my channel, go ahead and subscribe. I'm always uploading new things all the time. Not really consistent schedule, but we'll get there. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Sean Johnson, SeanJohnson.com. God bless you. See you in the next video. As always, links in the description below. Make sure to hit that show more button and check out my other websites as well as my social media channels.